One of the most intriguing characters in all of Elden Ring to me was Queen Marika, as she shattered the Elden Ring, and everything within the game was caused by one event known as the shattering.
The great Elden Ring was shattered. In our home, across the fog, the lands between. Now, Queen Marika the Eternal is nowhere to be found.
Where the land fell into war and a stagnant decay fell upon the land as we the Tarnished was called forth to change that state and hopefully put some progression back into the lands between.
A war from which no lord arose. A war leading to abandonment by the greater will. Oh, rise now, ye tarnished, ye dead who yet live.
In the story of Elden Ring, we play as a character known as the Tarnished, and it is because of Queen Marika and her direct choice to shatter the Elden Ring that the Tarnished is even alive to come help save the decaying state of the lands between. And immediately, I was super intrigued by her character right off of the very beginning part of the story, no more than a couple minutes in, and she is already the most mysterious character within the game. And that even continues throughout the exploration of the lands between, as there are monuments and statues and mention of her, the most absent character, the most influential at the same time. Just having all these monuments and Church of America on every corner of the map tells you that she was widely worshipped or loved by a very vast majority of those who inhabited the lands between. And although loved, there is also display of just how ruthless she can be at the same time. On top of the mountains, it looks like an old battlefield where multiple fire giants' bodies remain, and it's speculated that this was a battle that took place to carry out the influence of the greater will. And even though under the command of the greater will to carry out the greater will's influence, you learn about her ruthlessness after you go to the top of the mountain going towards the forge. There is the last remaining fire giant, and after defeated, you will receive his remembrance. And his remembrance has some info that can be taken quite a long ways about her character. The fire giant's remembrance says the fire giant is a survivor of the war against the giants. Upon realizing the flames of their forge would never die, Queen Marika marked him with a curse that says, "O trifling giant, mayest thou tend thy flame for eternity." This little bit of information, along with reading the land, goes a long ways, and I'll tell you why. The fire giant in the lands between, as we the Tarnished have to fight him to become Elden Lord, we find out he is vastly powerful and not so easy to beat. And That gives us direct power scaling for Queen Marika, as she either is powerful enough to defeat him or commanded power enough to beat him. Either way, to command the power to beat a fire giant, you yourself have to be more powerful. So this gives us a direct look into just how powerful she truly is, as well as her intelligence as well, because to be in war and to be a tacticianer of that skill level, knowing that fire giants will protect the forge, leaving one remaining so that anybody in the future wants to become Elden Lord, she knows they have to use the forge to burn through the barbs of the Erd Tree. This gives us two direct types of information to read into her character. And we know you have to burn through the barbs of the Erd Tree in the first place because of your maiden Melina. She tells you that that is the only thing, the only weapon that can be used against the Erd Tree. Nothing else can stop it. The giants had the only weapon that could bring down the Erd Tree.
Again, old friend, allow me a moment to converse with you. You are unable to enter the Erd Tree, no? Prevented by the mantle of barbs. The thorns are impenetrable, a husk of the Erd Tree's being that spurns all that exists without. The only way to stand before the Elden Ring and become the Elden Lord is to pass the thorns. My purpose serves to aid in that very act, so I'd like you to undertake a new journey with me to the Flame of Ruin, far above the clouds, upon the snowy mountain tops of the giants. Then I can set the Erd Tree aflame and guide you down the path to becoming Elden Lord. O Erd Tree, you shall burn. Burn for the sake of the new Lord. The one who walks alongside flame shall one day meet the road of destined death. Goodbye.
And to go right along with intelligence and strength, and like I said, with enough power, intelligence, and strength to command very powerful beings as well. And when I say that, I am referring to Horalu, who became the first Elden Lord known as Godfrey.
Upon my name as Godfrey, the first Elden Lord.
While we're on the subject of in control of immensely powerful beings, let's not forget Malekith the Black Blade, who imbued his black blade, his sword, with death itself, the rune of death, took it out of the Elden Ring and put it in his blade. There was not a being that did not fear him, because if he killed you, you were truly dead. But because he had death in his blade, death did not exist in the lands between. People just lived on. There was no rebirth. There was no recycling of life. And it just grew into this stagnant state that needed change. And as we just seen, Melina stated, One thing that's needed in the lands between is death indiscriminate, random, fair. People need to die. They need to be born, live, and die. It is a circle of life, and no progression will come unless Malekith is gone, which she also controlled.
I have long observed the lands between. This world is in dire need of repair and death. Indiscriminate. Are you prepared?
Now, I just laid out the events of what Queen Marika has kind of put in place, and I will get to that within this theory. But one more piece I want to add to this puzzle is, or this mystery, is Melina is the maiden, so to say, that is to be used as kindling to set the Erd Tree ablaze. And it's said within the story that a maiden serves the two fingers.
Have you heard of the Finger Maidens? They serve the two fingers, offering guidance and aid to the Tarnished. But you, I am afraid, are maidenless. I can play the role of maiden, turning runes into strength to aid you in your search for the Elden Ring. You need only take me with you to the foot of the Erd Tree. Must violate the Golden Order.
Now, if a maiden serves the two fingers, and the two fingers kind of serves the greater will, which is represented by the Erd Tree, why would a maiden guide you to its own demise? It makes not much sense to me. Now, there may be an answer that I'm missing out of this, but just standing back, it makes sense that Melina would have been the one to kill your maiden. Now, I know there's other theories out there saying that it's the first person you meet when you walk out of the door in Limgrave, and it very well could be. But it makes more sense to me that Melina be the culprit for that, because if a maiden serves the two fingers and the two fingers is guiding you, then I can see why Melina would want to interrupt that process and take advantage of a situation that she may, hey, this could be the one to bring the Erd Tree down and bring off the new age and put death back into the land, so this endless cycle will stop, this stagnant cycle with no progression beyond it. There's no purpose if you never die. It's only when you die you have purpose. You had a role to play. And if you never die and you're just kind of withering away and decaying but just not really dying, there's no progression from that point. And I think Queen Marika had a lot to do with it, because it's also said that Melina was born at the base of the Erd Tree very shortly after Queen Marika went missing. And I don't believe that none of that is coincidence. And that's kind of where I'm going to go ahead and lean into my theory now. Okay, so in my theory, this is kind of this is my speculation, and again, it's theory, so just keep that in mind. So, the Elden Beast came to the lands between, and Queen Marika was chosen to be the godlike figure, or so to say, ambassador for the greater will. And it's almost like she didn't like that position, but this beast or being was so powerful. Well, this is the best seat in the house, imbued with a ton of power, already intelligent. And back then, when this war went on, I don't think it was attack against the forge because it's ultimately a weapon towards the Erd Tree. I think it's more along the lines of I can use this later down the road, so I need to gain control of this forge so that I can use it in my plans later. I think this was an act to gain control, not to render it useless, because let's face it, if she wanted to render that forge useless, I have a theory on why I feel like she could. So the fire giants protect this forge. Now, if it can't be destroyed, why does it need to be protected? That's just, to me, like a power of deduction. There are giants trying to protect this forge, and now there's one giant protecting it, but if it can't be destroyed, you don't need to protect it. So it's obviously vulnerable. But here's the thing, she didn't go and destroy it. She left it accessible for use later when needed. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and kind of spell out my theory, because I've laid out like all the major parts of the story that where I'm getting some of this information. Now, if I got every single little bit of information that went into this video, then it would be like 4 hours long. I'm just trying to keep this one a little simple because most people got a pretty good idea about the game now. So, and I'm going to treat the people watching like they are not stupid. So, I don't assume people just can't figure stuff out. And if you like, lore and theory in Elden Ring, you've probably got some of your own. And I feel like, so in the beginning, the Elden Beast came to the Lands Between, and Queen Marika was chosen to be ambassador, like the godlike figure of the Lands Between that served the Greater Will. But who's to say she enjoyed serving the Greater Will? Because what she does doesn't make sense if she kind of likes serving the Greater Will. It makes no sense to me to sabotage yourself and kind of damn yourself to kind of be internally stuck in a tree for the rest of your life. Like you're in the infrastructure internals of a holy type tree. It's not, what I would call living. And I feel like it was her way to sacrifice herself. But before that, the war against the giants, it almost seems like, okay, this weapon can be used against the Erd Tree, and I don't think that it was that's the reason for that. I think, okay, hey, this can hurt the Erd Tree. I need to gain access and keep this under my watch for my use later type deal. It's almost like she went and made the forge kind of disposable at her use, like to gain control of it, to get it out of the control of the giants and gain control of it herself. Because that's the only thing I can think of as to why you would leave it there to be used later. It makes no sense. And it's like, well, the forge can't be destroyed. Okay, so why are giants protecting it then? If it can't be destroyed, it makes no sense. So I feel like it can be destroyed. Otherwise, it wouldn't need to be protected. That's just my opinion on that. And it didn't take a whole lot of thought on that one, but it did click, like, okay, why would she home in on someone that is protecting it but then leave it protected? That's a little small theory I've got on that one, and to me that to me makes sense. And then leaving the giant to protect it instead of rendering it useless, that's a tactical move. And she used her first Elden Lord Godfrey, an undefeated, very ferocious warrior amongst others in the land, to wage the war to make sure you have a winner. She had a lot of power and commanded a lot of power, and it's almost like she was hitting two sides against each other strategically. And I'll get to that in a second. So you also remove death out of the Elden Ring. You take that part of the Elden Ring out, and basically no one can die. So now you have access to all the people in the lands between at your calling, and they'll never die. So you will always be able to use them if you find the chosen one. It's like having access to information that will never go away. You know, just looking at it from this point of view, it's a strategic move. Okay, I found the Tarnished Warrior. I want to become Elden Lord. But I don't want them to go out there and die, so I'm going to take death from the land. Why would you take death from the land? It just makes no sense. If you take death from the land, you don't want people to die. There's gotta be a reason why. And I think that's the reason why. I think, well, if you want to find the perfect warrior, not letting people die means you have access to everybody that's kind of living around there. Like, no one will die, so eventually you just have more choices that way. And like the Tarnished, she sent the Tarnished away, including Godfrey. He was the first Tarnished. And will call you back from beyond the fog when needed. That to me is just sounds like it fits really good. And Melina being born at the foot of the Erd Tree, just also coincidentally after the shattering, that I feel like there's a really large missing link that we're missing there, because I feel like Melina, I say Melina and Queen Marika are tied together more than a lot of people think. And because, like, again, with the finger maidens, why would a maiden be listening to the two fingers who commute with the greater will? Why would the greater will want to destroy itself? It makes no sense on why maidens would be meant to go destroy who is commanding them. And Melina was commanded possibly by Queen Marika, and that's another strategic move. It's like all pieces to a plan that have to be set in a specific order, motion, or whatever have you, to make sure the plan succeeds. And the shattering caused a war. And this is what I find a little interesting about the war. This war happened, it weakened everybody in the lands between. All these demigods are now weakened because these are vastly, extremely powerful beings that just a little old Tarnish, I don't feel like could handle unless they have been weakened. I feel like it was strategically made to weaken these demigods. So, and almost immediately after the war, the Tarnished rises and comes from the fog into the lands between to become the next Elden Lord right after a war that weakened everybody. Very strategic move. I feel like this is all tactical chess moves being played to fight the greater will from within. And I'm really starting to add a lot more thought to this theory, and I may do some more research, some very in-depth research on this, but I'm starting to lean towards that. And I'm hoping in a DLC at some point we get some answers, because I would love to know some of these mysteries, man. That's why I love this game. I love Elden Ring. And I feel like Queen Marika was fighting the greater will from within like almost like a double agent. You know, it makes sense. And that's what I do. I look at outside of the box scenarios, and I look at something that might apply and make sense. And I feel like this is a possibility. Of all these were strategically placed moves by Queen Marika to fight the greater will from within. Otherwise, some of this stuff just doesn't fit right. And I may be wrong. Now, this is speculation and theory, y'all. So I'm just putting a theory out there that could be the answer. It's not saying it is the answer, but it is a theory nonetheless. And I'd like to get into a little more of this theory too, do a little more digging. Might do part 2 of this video, and there's other mysteries in the game I want to explore too, man. So anyways, if y'all like this channel, you like the content, and you really dig Elden Ring, the lore, and the theory, let me know down in the comments, and hit the subscribe button. Show the channel some love, man. It's the best way to support a channel. And I really want to hear from you guys. Like, my favorite part, I say that in every video, and that's because it is. So I haven't been able to get to Elden Ring like I want to. God of War dropped, it was hot, so I jumped on it. But Elden Ring is my game, y'all. So anyways, I want to hear what you guys think, man, and we're going to dig into a little bit more of the theories surrounding Elden Ring, like here in the near future. So I do hope I see you guys there, man. We'll see you in the next one.
It is a bell of calling forth spirits. Summon them with it. From ash and return to the Erd Tree.